although you let me go. So many times you cut me loose, I fell right back to you.
How to make a singer-songwriter song, or how to make a song as a singer-songwriter. So maybe you're a solo artist, you play the guitar, you play the piano, maybe you don't play anything at all. How can we build a song that sounds really cool, like a pop song, but still has that singer-songwriter feel to it? I have a song that's like that, and I'm gonna break it down in how I built this song. If you're a singer-songwriter too, and you're trying to get music heard and trying to make music, feel free to subscribe to this channel, because that's what this channel is all about. As always, I am using Logic, but you guys can use any other DAW. It doesn't necessarily matter. This video will be really based around the production and the elements, how we build the song from scratch. We're not going to go too deep into the processing of each track, but rather focus on the fundamentals of building a production as a singer-songwriter, and how you can make your song sound big. The best way to still make it sound like a singer-songwriter is to have one element that is the main element. Obviously, that's your vocal, but the other element, like, are you a piano player, are you a guitar player, like something that you can carry the song through. When you think of like Ed Sheeran, even though he's a pop star, he still has guitar in his songs. Or even more smaller artists like James Vincent McMorrow or Dermot Kennedy, they both play their instruments, whether that's a piano or a guitar. So in this song we have keys or piano. We're using the native instruments, the Gentleman piano, which is a plugin. This is our main instrument throughout the song. How do you build it up from scratch? One way to think about it is just adding the elements that are in a band. So bass, drums, maybe a synthesizer, singers, this type of thing. Just think of what would be on stage when you're watching a live band, for example. Now you just don't want to add instruments for the sake of adding instruments. So ideally the vibe of your song. So this song here, if we just take a listen to the keys and vocal.
Should I run or follow through? Times change, but nothing's new.
So the mood of this song is fairly somber, right? More on the dark side, slower tempo, even though it is a BPM of 125. It's just more on the laid back, darker, somber side. So what I did to make the production is I added a lot of pads and atmosphere to this, so that we have a pads output, a bus output here. And that gives us a vibe of this if we just solo the pads. And lots of dynamic between the pads here, right? Which is just kind of making like a bed for the vocal. Just something that fills the sound, fills that stereo image. They're super wide here. One pan is hard panned left, one is hard panned right. Let's quickly go through how we develop this layer of pads. So this is just kind of a regular brass type synth with a low attack. And you can see the volume is automated here. If I open up the automation, just to provide a bit of an intro to that first verse. You can choose any brass type synth, like for example in Logic the retro synth, and play a chord, put the attack higher so the notes don't come so fast, so that attack is longer, and then you can put a lot of reverb on it, and you can make the chords really long and play with the filters, cut off a lot of the highs of the notes, so it really just sounds like really low and mid lows. The next pad here, it's a verb pad. So this is a pad I made with some volume automation also coming into that first. All these three pads have automation that gives a bit of drama to that intro. I've taken a guitar note and then put a lot of reverb on the guitar and then recorded that reverb. So this is only the reverb that is being added. And then I added a tremolator so that gives it that rhythm effect. And there also is a filter being automated as well. So you can see, if I open up this Pro Q2 filter, you can see that the filter is opening and closing. And that lets more high notes in, so the listener can hear it a bit, and then the filter closes off and then slowly opens again over time. So it's not just always consistent, but there is some flutteriness to the pad. The next one is a guitar pad. Same thing with this pad. I just played a couple of guitar notes and I put a lot of reverb on it with a really long decay time, and then just recorded that reverb. There is a video I have on my channel that is called How to Make pads and atmospheric sounds. It was a live video I did a few weeks ago, and I show you exactly how to do this, how to record the reverbs of instruments to make pads. And I do that a lot to make these pads. Also this ARP pad, which is just a synth that has an arpeggiator that has a lot of reverb again and really low in the mix. So it sounds like this. So if we just play the pads, the keys, and the vocals, it will sound like this.
Should I run or follow through? Times change, but nothing's new.
Now if I mute the pads,
should I run?
Lots of dead
follow
space.
through?
Lots and lots of dead space there. It's fine to have that dead space there sometimes. It really depends on the mood of your song. In this song, I did want it to be a bit more mysterious and darker and somber, so I added a lot of these pads with reverb on it. So for the verse and chorus, there's just two other parts here. There's this key pluck, which is just providing a bit of rhythm, and it's just a key playing one note with a fair amount of reverb on it. It sits in there like this.
What to do if what they...
And when it comes to your productions, you want to try to find elements that have this type of rhythm. If you don't have this movement, then it can get boring really fast. That's why hi-hats are great to have in choruses and in other elements, but you can use different instruments as you would hi-hats. Like for example, this is kind of like a hi-hat, this key pluck, but it's just playing one note on the piano instead of an actual hi-hat. So it provides that that rhythm, but it's not a hi-hat because I didn't want hi-hats this so early in the verse. There's these harmonies that do come in the chorus here, and harmonies are super thing to add in singer-songwriter songs to fill space as well. You can actually have harmonies to act like pads as well, and it just makes your song sound really much more wide by hard panning harmonies, or at least some type of panning. So this is just a tom build with a kick, a bit of a hi-hat, and that's automated to come up. You can see there is a high cut filter, high cut frequency. So it's building up to this chorus here.
Say you don't want to know. I'm tired of the games we play. I just don't.
And then kick snare pattern. That's a big kick there. I mean, these are programmed drums. This isn't a real drum set. If you're using Logic, a great way to do that is just add drummer tracks. So new drummer tracks, and you can find different patterns of real players that have recorded these drums, and they sound really, really good. If you have a snare sample you really like or a kick sample you really like, you can switch out those samples and then add your own effects on it. So this drum set here, it looks like I recorded all these drums because they're in audio, but I just bounced this from a Logic software drummer track. So it has the kick, the like real sounding, as much as it is not real, but real sounding drums. Now the bass is another element that adds a ton of punch. This is not also a typical bass. This is actually a Juno synth bass, so it sounds like this. And I think this is what gives it the modern feel, so you can set yourself a bit different to just like the Joni Mitchell style of singer-songwriter. If you want to have a more modern sound, you can add different types of synth bass. And with the keys and the pluck, now the keys are really present here, maybe a bit too loud, but you can still see that it's the main instrument. The listener knows like, oh, this is a singer-songwriter playing the piano. So let's take a look at this kind of post-chorus into the bridge here and the drop, and how we can build dynamic throughout the song so we can still have 3 choruses, but add a bridge. So let's take a listen to this.
Although you let me go, you were the best I know. Although you let me go, I'm falling. I keep falling back to you.
So we're adding harmonies here, and we're taking at the bass for a little bit. And just that alone is like noticeable, already a big enough change. And then the bass comes back in and then it's fresh again. So we do have harmonies built under this stack here.
Falling, keep falling back to you.
I would recommend doing harmonies on all your songs if you're a singer-songwriter to add width, but also to give it more authenticity to you because it's your voice. And if you put, it's completely unique to you. If you put more of your voice on the song, it will sound more unique.
I keep falling back
And I mean, everyone loves harmonies too, right?
to you. I can't stop moving, I can't slow down. This
See, it's just kind of intro here. If I took out the vocal, bit of automation, and coming back in for a big chorus. Would it be helpful if I dive into each of the tracks and go over like the compression, EQ, and reverb that I added to each track and how I processed each track? Let me know in a comment. I'd be happy to maybe do another video with this one or another song I'm doing. Maybe we can make a video or a song from scratch together. Feel free to subscribe to this channel. I do live music production videos every Monday, so I hope to see you in the next one.